Hey everybody, it's Dave Whitmarsh, CEO founder of Whitmarsh Consulting Group. I own best practices in HR, training, leadership and coaching, benefits, and talent acquisition. And today we have a special guest, Fletcher Wimbush, and Fletcher's done some really, really cool things around the recruiting space, although this is geared for coaches, but I definitely wanted to let you know exactly where he's coming from, what he's at, but he's got a disc that is a part of his recruiting system, and it has a tremendous following in the HR and coaches. So Fletcher, how are you?
Good. Yeah, I know this is going to be an interesting journey here. The fall we re-released our disc product and we supercharged it with AI. So the underlying algorithms are all the same and everything, but the content creation, really has gone on supercharge, which, I think allows for a better experience for the people taking the disc, and they get a more personalized report back, right? In a bunch of different areas. And we had kind of reflected on our journey in terms of the partners that have been great partners for us. We're talent acquisition experts, so we create recruitment automation, talent acquisition, talent attraction software, as well as pre-hire assessment tools, from disc style assessments to other kinds of aptitude skill based types of assessments, automated reference checks, video interviews, interview guides, scorecards. I mean, everything the organization needs to select the right people, right, to find and select those. And what we found is that business coaches were really great partners for us because we speak the same language, right? They're coaching about, creating mission, vision, core values, OKRs, system structures within inside of organizations so that they can perform at the highest level. Generally, in that journey, in that conversation, at some point, the coach in the organization identify talent gaps or talent deficits or challenges with the existing team. So they begin to look for tools and vendors and partners to help their clients solve the talent acquisition problem. And the DISC tool is great for the internal teams and developing those. And it's not really our area. We don't coach or consult in that area, but we have the tools. So we decided to make those tools free to business coaches so that they could use those tools to enhance the results and the relationships that they have with their clients, but also to help them grow their businesses, right? So DISC is a great way for coaches to bring people into their sphere of influence and begin to add value in the relationship and convert those people to paying customers, right? So that was kind of the idea there. And a lot of harmony between the two of us. And so we started launching this campaign in the fall. We've signed up over 400 coaches. Some of these folks that were invited today were part of that list or group of people who have signed up and gotten the offer to use our DISC tools free, 100%, no strings attached, unlimited use. If you're haven't already signed up for that, I'll drop a link here in the chat and you can sign up and get your account, and you can begin distributing as many DISC assessments as you want, as many people as you want, and again, really literally no strings attached. We do have a relationship that we're looking to build, and again, that's up to the coach whether they want to engage in that relationship or not. But if they do, again, we can help their clients solve their hardest hiring problems through the technology tools that we offer, or through the fractional talent acquisition models, or and the best practices, the consulting side of it that we're sharing. So it just helps augment or supplement or add more value on top of the relationships there. So that's kind of been our goal. So today we're going to talk about a little bit about what DISC is and what kind of impact it can make and how it can drive business results for your clients, but also about how you as a coach can leverage DISC to grow your business and enhance those relationships, right? So that's going to be the general theme there. Did I miss anything? I missed anything, David?
No, but we should also mention that as a partner, there is opportunity for you to, you know, make money by referral and reference.
Yeah. Well, that's thanks. I missed the most important part. Yeah. We pay 50% of the first year revenue. And then for the life of the client, scale between 10 and 25%. We pay out to coaches who refer us business. So just give you an example, kind of our minimum entry points, $3,000 a year for our hiring platform. You know, a coach sends 10 referrals, that's 15,000. I always like to joke, we're going to make your Tesla payment for a year, right? You know, if you send us 10 clients, right? So it's a great opportunity to add, additional revenue sources to your business without having to create new tools or gadgets and things. You can just make a
Or
simple
do the work, right?
or do the work. Yeah. Because not only you make the introduction, we set the clients up with the tools, but it's a very hands-on process where as we set the clients up with the tools to attract and assess and evaluate candidates better, we're often educating them a lot on the best hiring practices. And so they're getting a lot of free consulting for using our products, right? So, and again, that tends to work harmoniously. We actually have a coach, he's a construction industry coach, and he's built a $3 million business on top of our platform. So that's kind of an advanced relationship that we have with him, and many others that we're writing $50,000, $100,000 a year checks to refer a lot of business over to us as well. So it's a win-win, right? Solve the client's problem. You look good as a coach, help the clients, solve talent acquisition challenges, allows their business to grow. You look good as a coach, and you get some of the heavy lifting off your plate because, constructing and executing well-oiled talent acquisition machines can be a difficult challenge. And as a coach, maybe, doing 4 1-hour sessions a month or being paid by the hour, it's takes a lot of time to do. So you can just bring in a partner who can be that hands-on person, right?
And I will tell that Fletcher,
Yeah,
from a talent acquisition standpoint, I've reviewed, in my past life, I've reviewed many different systems, and when I was head of research over at HR.com, and it fell under my title, and I've looked at a lot of different systems, and I got to tell you what Fletcher's put together from a talent acquisition standpoint is just rock solid, and I love his model too. He'll train you how to use it. So if you have internal recruiters, have at it. Here's how to use it. Here's the best things. Or, if an organization's bandwidth isn't, up to where it should be at the particular time and place, then, he'll pitch in, or his firm will pitch in and actually do some of that recruiting,
yeah,
in assisting your customers. So it's a really robust offering, and it's the more I look at it, the more I'm like, wow, that's really impressive. The other day, I think I called him a mad scientist. So
yeah.
um,
Well,
yeah,
and I mean, I don't know. I'm 41, so I'm like a Zennial, they call me, right? So I have I grew up with technology, but not like the Gen Z and Ys and even millennials, even, right? And I love, and I think many of us are enamored with the SaaS model. I like to call this SaaS on steroids, because we do a lot of human to human training and coaching and help, because the fact of the matter is, like, HR professionals, admins, even business leaders, are not as tech savvy as they would like to be, right? And especially in the HR space, right? This population of people who are in these roles tend to not have the tech aptitude that many of us would like or hope that they'd have, right? So they need a lot of help, right? And so we don't shy away from that, the human to human contact and the help, and supporting our clients to be successful, leveraging the tools and ideas that we share with them. And we think that's very important. Unlike your traditional SaaS model, who's like, send in a support ticket and somebody from the Philippines will give you a broken English message back, and maybe you can understand, and you spend days or hours, trying to resolve an issue, right? So we're kind of anti that when it comes to the traditional software model, and like the human touch to be added on top. And so it's very important to us, right? So because we're in the people business, right? So we feel like that's important. So as I mentioned today, we're going to talk about driving business results, leveraging DISC assessments. So again, both for you internally for your business, but also for your clients' businesses and how you can leverage those. I'm gonna like to make an assumption that most of you are pretty familiar with the DISC concept, but if you're not, briefly we'll go over it. Basically, it's a widely known and common way of looking at human personality types. And so there's 4 different buckets that those types get put into: the dominance trait, influence, steadiness, and conscientiousness. So I am a high D and high I. Our reports, help people begin to visualize that. So I'm going to, take my clothes off here and, show you who I am for better or worse, so high D's and high I's, come with lots of love, hate, feelings oftentimes, but that's who I am. And, part of our report that we share with folks helps people give kind of a visualization of what that means. So that means I'm an extreme introvert, tend to be results oriented. And I'm, not introverted and, stray away from the steadiness stuff. And, I also have some relationship orientation as well. We're all snowflakes. So, everybody's a little bit different. They fall in different, and that's why we visualize it like this, because there's nobody is just a pure one of these things, right? We all have some of this going on within us. The question is to what degree and level of intensity and variance. And there's a lot of other little, nuance to this, but that's the high level there. And why do we care, right? Well, it helps us understand what people's motivators are, right? So personality is all about your preference, your comfort level, your natural strengths and weaknesses. And people are going to lean into their natural preferences and strengths and weaknesses, and they're going to shy away from the things that don't. And those are the things that are going to motivate you, right? So when I'm in, here on stage and getting to talk about things that I love about, I'm excited, and if I had to like work on a spreadsheet all day, it's going to suck my energy and it's going to demotivate me, right? So these are important things to begin with. It's a great way, again, to begin a coaching relationship, to understand where people are at on the DISC profile, and then you can begin to speak their language, right? So these are just some examples here that you can tie these things back to. So on the flip side of your motivators are the things that stress you out, right? Again, my example, like, working on spreadsheets for 8 hours a day, like, would stress me out. Like, I would just go crazy. Like, I couldn't, I could do it for a period of time, but I couldn't do it, for a sustained amount of time. I, rip my eyeballs out or something, right? So we want to understand, what are those stressors? What are the things that, really put people outside of their comfort zone, and so that we can work to help them come up with strategies to deal with those when they do have to do this. So I have to do spreadsheets sometimes. So, right. So what are some mechanisms or some tools that I can use to get through a spreadsheet project without ripping out my eyeballs, right? Or how can I find other people on my team and leverage their strengths who love that? And so I did that early in my journey. I have a guy named Weston. He is like an angel to me, right? He does all that stuff on my team. And you know what? He would, probably, cry if he had to sit here and do this presentation. Last thing he wants to do is stand on stage and talk about stuff, right? So we complement each other perfectly, right? He is literally the exact opposite of me on the DISC profile. And so, we're yin and yang to each other, and we make a great team because of that, right? Because I get to do the things that stress him out, and he gets to do the things that stress me out, right?
It's actually interesting, right? That you're obviously you're using those strengths to your benefit, because so often when people recruit, they find that they like to recruit people exactly like them,
Yeah.
right? And it really takes away from the potential from having different perspectives. So
Yeah.
it's good that you recognize it.
Yeah, and the diversity of the team, which is really important, right? To have those different perspectives or have those people who are better at different things, and rounds the team out so that it can be more. Yeah, if you had a bunch of D's on a team, nothing would ever get done because we'd all be like, ripping each other's limbs apart, right? Fighting over
Mhm.
the best direction. Right? So it could be very difficult. But there are places and plenty of organizations where you might have multiple D's involved, right? So how do we then find a way to work together in a hierarchy and a system so that each D's feelings and thoughts can be heard and observed, but then yet everybody one direction is set, can fall in line and play their roles right without killing each other, right? In this example, right? When you talk about high C's, right? What they do is paralysis by analysis, right? So they'll argue about the details over and over again and never get anything done. Well, somebody's got to take charge and say, okay, enough's enough. We just got to move forward, right?
Totally.
So those would be some kind of examples I'm just sharing there. So ultimately, then too, is what are our areas for growth, right? It's one thing to say, okay, I'm a high D and I do and I don't like doing certain things, but at the end of the day, we do need to be respectful and to try to be aware of our weaknesses and our areas for growth. And again, DISC is a great jumping off point, right? Starting with the understanding of the personality types, your personality types, clients' personality types, team personality types. That is the common language that we can use to begin to have these discussions around stressors, motivators, and areas to grow or to evolve or to address issues within a given team, right? So again, briefly, I'll kind of show like what we do when we present a report to folks here. And this report is shareable by PDF or by a digital link. So you can just copy the link and share it with folks. But hey, identified, hey, this is what kind of high level, what your personality type is. This gives like a pretty in-depth summary of what that means. And so folks can read, and then a nice visualization of what that means. And again, more kind of nuanced details on those areas. We get into some advanced stuff. So, again, I'm way on the extroversion scale, high on the results scale. And then we break those personality types down into their subfacets or subtraits. So on the conscientious, there's these, different ones. So that we break into. And again, we kind of give people a little bit of a summary there. And these are, again, very customized to the individual and their ranges that they score on. So we give a lot of information and a lot of detail. This is not just a basic kind of DISC report sometimes you see out there. And then we actually get into those personal stressors and motivators, and we call those out for people. So it makes it easier to identify what those might be, right? And then we begin to get into those personal stressors and areas for growth, right? So we again call those out and we talk about those things so that the folks can have better language and better self-awareness. I guess another side effect of leveraging DISC or learning more about DISC and talking this language is just a higher level of emotional intelligence, right? Understand yourself and understand others better, right? And then ultimately, we give you kind of a grid or matrix on how your personality may interact with others, some common pitfalls or synergies that you might have with different personality types, right? So all of this is what you'd give to your client, what you would look at for yourself, or what your client could do with their team. And as we mentioned, we do this with coaches. It's totally free. So you could give this to an organization of 10,000 people, free, total, no cost to you, right? Or you could charge them for it. So you could, no cost from us to you. You could give this to 10,000 people, and you could charge them for it, right? And so that's kind of a great opportunity to add more value in that coaching relationship, right? So the other thing we did, and before I get into some of the things that, and we'll talk about next, is how these can impact business results. But one of the things we thought was important, especially for coaches who are beginning to think about incorporating DISC into their business, is we wanted to give you guys a bunch of tools to above and beyond just the DISC tool itself, but so that you could just jump right in and begin using it and begin marketing yourself as a disc expert, or marketing yourself leveraging disc, or to conduct personal development plans or conflict workshops or team building workshops. So one of the things we did is we compiled, we created a bunch of PowerPoints and one pagers or plans that you can leverage as a starting point. And we give you all of these in either Word doc or PowerPoint, so that you could then change it and modify it however you want. But we gave it, or you could just use it off the shelf, right? Like it's ready to go. You can just leverage it, right? So, really, I think for coaches, it starts with why, might be thinking about you leveraging disc is, probably, most coaches I talk to, not all of them, but many of them I'm talking to are like, hey, I want to grow my business, right? Like I need more clients. I've got 3 or 4 right now. I want to get to 20 clients, right? So one of the things here is some different, ways that you can promote your practice. Oh, I wanted to, let me do that in, let me open that in a new screen here, but open that in a new tab. So this here you can go to, and all of these swipe files are here available to you. So here, for example, like, leveraging disc here to do a free consultation, and then you can begin to put in a coaching plan. And so once your client or prospect does that, you can have the free consultation with them. And then these are all the different programs that are pre-built for you that you can leverage, right? So if the client is looking for better communication with people on their team, then you could propose to them, hey, why don't we do the first 90 days and work on this, right? And this is ready to go for you, and it's another swipe file for you that you can just access and grab as you see fit, right?
Well
So
done, Fletcher. I didn't know you had all this.
yeah, all ready to go for you, right? So I'll drop that here in the chat. So if anybody is interested, or again, whether you use our tools or you don't, this is free swipe files that you can leverage however you want. They're universally applicable. So great little like mini coaching programs. Again, run a conflict resolution workshop, do a 90-day personal development action plan, right? There's 2 different styles or versions. Again, it's in Word doc, so you can modify that as you see fit, right? Some other personal development plans in a presentation style, and some strength and weakness mappings. This is great for team building type of activities, right? So these are all here available to our coach partners or anybody who wants to use those. Again, I just dropped that in the chat there. You can take advantage of some of those there. Aside from leveraging this, again, we've given you a bunch of tools to help you market yourself as a coach, leveraging disc. That's one way that you can drive business results, obviously, right? Because it's free too. Like one of my favorite things is just, Facebook post. Hey, interested in learning more about yourself? Take this 10-minute, disc assessment, right? Here's a link. You can just make that thing publicly available. Everybody and their mom can take it. And you get the results back, and now you have their results, and you can reach out to them and say, hey, I want to review these with you. And now that's your free consultation to then review their results with them, talk to them about some different programs that you can help them conduct, or whether that's an individual or a team program that you want to conduct for them. And that's where you can then offer the upsell to the paid coaching or event that you might want to put off. Another great way to leverage this is put on an event, right? Use one of these as a workshop, a free workshop, and get 50 people in the room. And when they all get in the room, send them a link to complete the disc. It takes about 10 minutes. So that's plenty of time in a workshop, right? Everybody sits down, completes it. They get their disc results right then and there. And then you have a captive audience in your workshop, and you put them through, say, this, strength and weaknesses workshop right then and there live, right? So, that's a way to do kind of a group new business type of program, right? You can either charge a little bit or a lot or nothing. Again, that's a way to get a lot of people in a room and to be able to add value to their world and also promote yourself as a knowledgeable coach, right? So that's some things that you can do just a couple of ideas and plenty of more ideas on how you can leverage this to grow your coaching business. Now, once you're beginning to work with a client, and why somebody should care, is, how can disc impact business results, right? So I collected some of these from coaches, some of these little mini case studies here. But one coach he's a sales coach, and he has this client. She owns a property management company, and she's ID, and so she was struggling to close new business. And so they went through the disc exercise and the training session, and she became a little more aware of her personality types, and then began to adjust how she sold. And the end result is she ended up with more business than she could handle. So she, originally wanted to hire a salesperson. She, was going to spend money on that, try to train them up, try to get them to do that. Instead, the script was flipped. She became the best salesperson in the organization. And then she hired a lot of C's and S's to help support all of that growing business that they ended up having. And she was also working from her zone of happiness. And so she enjoyed the sales process a lot more. So really great benefit and great, success story there. This is from a coach who's working with the sales management team, and put the whole team through the DISC assessments, and began having a better understanding of themselves as well as their team, and began to adjust their personal communication styles from the various different personality styles on their team. And through that improved communication, they ultimately became the leader in education training service provider in Southern California. So they became the top training service provider in Southern California. Some of you guys probably know them, New Horizons Training. So they're a big skill and training development, professional development organization. So they went on to be very, and continue to be very successful to this day, right? So another coach worked a lot that we collaborate with, works a lot in healthcare. She came from the healthcare arena. They had two departments. They were loggerhead, fighting over, workflow and who's responsible for what. And ultimately it led to a hostile work environment and was affecting the company's overall performance. And through, using DISC to coach the individual coaches, as well as to, better awareness of the individuals on the team, they were able to run some continued education workshops for departmental conflicts reduced, and the team sentiment turned from negative to positive. The overall company performance improved at a measurable amount. So, it was the beginning to a journey of like really tearing down what was kind of becoming a hostile or toxic work environment and turning into a positive one. And that had obvious positive impacts in the business, right? So, fast-growing software startup was experiencing high turnover and dissatisfaction, mainly because employees didn't feel the rules aligned. So by implementing DISC into their hiring practices, as well as their training, onboarding, and to also evaluate their existing team members, they began to be able to reposition people they had accidentally put into the wrong roles or had pigeonholed people into roles. Like, I thought this person was going to be good for customer service, but you know what? They really should be in sales. So flip that script. Turnover reduces by 50%. I mean, now we're talking a multi-million-dollar impact on a business when you can start reducing turnover by 25, 50, 75%, that has a multi-million-dollar impact on their organization, right? And employee satisfaction scores increase dramatically. Obviously, again, this goes back to personal stressors and motivators. If people are in roles that give them energy, then they're going to be happier on their job and what they do every day, right? So, this is an interesting one, a personal story for me. 9 years ago, I hired an assistant. She's a high S and C, which is great. We worked well together, but it's not usually associated with a high performing executive recruiter. Again, as I mentioned, we have a fractional and a retained search business. But by taking time and really tailoring the role to her style, she's become the top performing recruiter on my team. So this is an interesting, case study in my opinion, because I took somebody who probably shouldn't be in that role, but by tailoring the role and by, creating a structure and a set of systems and processes, and spent a lot of time educating and learning, she was able to actually become a high producing recruiter. Recruiting, by the way, if you guys aren't aware, is a sales and marketing job, right? So, we took her
Just a
out of
little
her
bit,
zone, her normal comfort zone, right? Of being in a support role to a lead role, and her personal income more than 5x ultimately, over the years. So she's really become a high performing individual contributor, and and very happy with her lifestyle now, right? And her job too. Like, she likes her job, despite it being counterintuitive to her personality, because we tailored it to fit her strengths and weaknesses, right? So implementing DISC in your assessments, DISC assessments in your company or your client's company. So how to conduct DISC assessments, interpreting DISC results, sharing DISC with employees. These are all things that you as a coach, that we're going to support you on through a lot of these swipe files and our education, and happy to support you one-on-one if you would like as well. And we're going to go through that, and ultimately, the goal here is to affect key areas of business, improve communication, enhance team performance, effective conflict resolution, informed hiring and placement decisions, professional development and training, leadership development, increased employee engagement, positive culture, and we should add here improved overall emotional intelligence, right? So those are all ties to that. So I don't know, what do we got here? Well, we do offer SHRM and HRCI continuing education credit. So if you happen to be a holder of one of those licenses or accreditations, you can grab those links there. But what kind of questions are popping up for us, or for you, David?
well, not many, yeah. So let's see. So what are, like, when people uh talk about using the disc, right? And maybe this goes out to them, to some of the attendees, they can feel free to chime in, and I can happily unmute anybody if they want to speak on it. But what are the number one pushbacks you have with organizations? Because I can tell you, I've been through the coaching certification program, and personally, from a marketer, I have real problems with the assessments, and marketing them. It seems like, from my perspective, it always seems like somebody has something in the organization, or already, or they don't want to redo it in their organization, which are just, they're all valid points. But what's really nice about this, especially with the free option, is you can host a workshop, everybody can do it, and it doesn't, there's no out of pocket for, well, unless of course you want to charge them for it, and you should, or you build it into your fee, right? You're not going to just go take a good chunk of your day away for nothing. But um, so that should, from my perspective, that should help overcome some of the hurdles and some of the issues that people have, from a pushback perspective. But I don't know if there's any,
Yeah.
what people are seeing out there from assessments, if it's a hard sell, if people are interested. Um, every time I've ever been in a workshop that's involved some form of assessments, it's always been incredibly engaging. So I can
Yeah.
see why coaches love the philosophy of it. So any thoughts like that? That'd be cool.
Yeah, well, I think from a coach perspective, what we're seeing with the population of coaches is just getting started, right? Like, I don't know, like maybe they don't believe the offer's too good to be true or something. It's what it is. It's totally true. Like, like just getting started, right? And I think people have paralysis by now. So, well, I need to be more prepared. I need to, you know more, whatever. Like the beauty of this is I'm a firm believer of learn by doing, right? And so the way we set this up is, and what I encourage coaches to do is once you sign up for the offer and you get your account and you get your testing link, you get just a simple link that you can share with as many people as you want. It's super easy, right? So, but I encourage them to have their friends and family take it, right? And practice on them. Because I mean, your wife or your husband or your kid or your best friend, right? Like they're happy to help you out, right? And it takes 10 minutes to complete the survey, right? The assessment. And the results come back instantly, and they're packed full of information. So like, don't have no fear, right? Like just do and take action and have people do it. And don't be afraid to tell them you're new to this as well, right? Like say, hey, look, I'm new, but hey, the reports have everything you need in there, right? So all you got to do is just walk through the report and just have a discussion. That's your job as a coach, right? You don't have to have all the answers to everything. The tool, gives you the answers. And as a coach, you can just simply ask probing questions. Well, how do you feel about that? Like, what does that mean to you? Right? Like, what do you think? Like, how is that holding you back? Or how has that helped you in your life? Right. So, you don't have to be the expert. You just have to be a good facilitator and lead, the horse to water and through the journey and have the discussion with them. And people are going to have their own breakthroughs and their own. And again, start easy, like start with your friends and family. Right. So it's a great way to get familiar with it, to learn more. You don't have to overthink this thing. You grab the link and just begin sharing it with, trusted people who are going to let you learn with them, right? And then, so that's one way. And obviously, unlike other DISC programs, obviously we don't provide certification, or we don't require you to sign up for a $50,000 training course or anything like that. If you've already taken a DISC training course, then everything you've learned is totally applicable to this particular version of the tool, right? So this is our own proprietary version of the tool, but at the end of the day, DISC is DISC. The personality types and the traits are, it's the same language. We're all talking the same stuff. This is all based on, ideas that were really formulated thousands of years ago, but popularized in the early 1900s. Drawing a blank on the guy, but there's a famous psychologist who kind of coined and developed this kind of framework, right? This 4 personality types. So I don't know. There's really little barriers in my sense. If you are using other assessments, I know plenty of coaches who use a combination of assessments for different purposes. And again, that's just, more assessments, more angles, more perspectives, more discussion points, more awareness, right? So I don't know that there's necessarily a right or wrong assessment. Again, I like the DISC one because it's just more commonly understood and easier to talk about than some other types where you really have you have to take that certification course to become an expert at it, right?
Yeah, and a lot of times some of those certification courses actually, that is a major form of revenue.
Yeah.
Like so you have to just be careful. But it's good exercise. But I will also say there was a question that I will send to everybody out. I will send everybody out a link to the archive, so you can take a look at it. And I will also include both of those links that are in there. And just in case you're not really good with the metaphors, I will also say when you share with your family and friends and coworkers and potential customers. When Fletcher said you have to take your clothes off, that was a metaphor, right?
That
So
was a
you
metaphor. Yeah. I mean that, like, show them your
save the
results,
quote.
right? Like this is what I do.
Yeah,
I share my results with people and say, well, this is me. So now, I'm gonna get down to your level, and I'm gonna expose myself as much as you might. If some people are uncomfortable, they're like, oh my God, what is this going to tell me about myself? What are you going to know about me? And they don't want, but that's pretty rare. But, again, I always like to, expose myself before, I ask other people to share about themselves, right? So, hopefully they feel more comfortable sharing, right?
Yeah, totally. Be a fun exercise. I might take you up on it and run it by the kids for. Well, my wife is a coach herself, so she knows exactly where she fits. But
Yeah.
I might run the kids through it just so we can have a good dinner table
Yeah.
conversation.
I mean, I've been taking these since I was 7 years old, so it's kind of interesting. I'm been the primary guinea pig for every version of these that we've created over the last 25. Well, geez, I mean that's longer than that now, but 30 plus years. I've been doing been exposed to disc and personality assessments, right? So I was always the first one that had to take it, and
Okay, so what else do you have that you think would be good to talk about?
I don't know. I mean, we're here to support you guys. I mean, we're obviously, we want to build relationships with coaches. We want to help you grow your business, help you add more value. And, ultimately, it's not a requirement for our relationship, but, if you're interested and your clients have, uh, real hiring challenges, we encourage you to share our performance hiring software with them. And we've got it's got everything they need, right, built right in. And post jobs and get it out to all the job boards and make sure that they can quickly begin sourcing talent and folks. The clients get a free career page built in, their social media recruitment marketing tools built in. um, there's all of the tools to automate the hiring process are built into our hiring platform, right? So instantly text, email, engage folks that are high quality, follow up. So when you're, dealing with candidates and, you're asking them to schedule calls and things like that, it's all done. There's an automated interview scheduling. These two things really help improve. Hey, I've got a good candidate and I need to get them into the hiring process. We can virtually automate the process of getting them into that first introductory steps of that process. So we also create recruitment marketing videos for our clients. They complete a 5-minute questionnaire on a video that we provide. So you send the client a link, they answer some questions via that link. We get that back, and then we have a full video marketing team that just transforms that into a beautiful video or series of videos. So we love it if we get to do a series of videos because we get to tell a lot of stories about why somebody should want to work within an organization. So, the best recruitment marketing content we've created is like the CEO and then the head of different departments and then the frontline workers, all tell their story. And that gets transformed into a ton of videos, and those get nurtured or dripped from the career page to the ads to the hiring process. So you're dripping videos in and throughout each stage of the hiring process. And all of that really is an impactful way to engage the very, very best people and keep them engaged, as well as just help screen out people that don't belong, right? If they watch these videos and they hear people's stories and they're like, that doesn't feel like the place I want to be, then, it gets them out of your process, right? So that's kind of a cool service we offer. We do that either paid or if you're not a client, you can buy the service, or if you're a client, it's free for our clients. We do all the recruitment marketing content creation. We also use that content to enhance job ads, to tell stories within job ads, as well as to create massive amounts of social media content as well. So again, to help bolster the social recruiting content that you might use, as well as employee referral programs. So it helps create all that content. So this is the starting point to creating a massive recruitment marketing operation. So that's kind of a fun thing we love to do there. It helps you nurture candidate pools, and then expert, we're here for you, right, all the time.
And what is the best way to refer a customer, Fletcher?
Yeah. Simple email introduction is the best way to me. So just make that introduction there. If you're going to be a volume or you want to become an affiliate, we have an affiliate program as well. So you have your own tracking link and things like that. So if you just are sending people to our website, that traffic will be tracked. And if they fill out a form and if they become a client, it'll be tracked back. But typically for coaches, it's just a warm handoff. Like, hey, email, hey, I got this client, they're having trouble with hiring. Thought you two might be a good partner for each other. And then we pick up the ball and run for it. And oftentimes with coaches, I like to have them join some of the first discovery calls with the first few clients, so they get to see our process as how we evaluate their talent acquisition systems. Because that's for us, it's always consultative. Like, first step for us when starting a new business in our hiring platform is we want to learn everything about how they're hiring and what they're working on, what their metrics are, what's working, what's not working. And then we tailor the suite of tools to solve the biggest challenges that they're having there. And then they go through typically a 2-week free trial. So we prove it to them like, hey, look, this tool and these systems can make a big difference. So we show them how it works. We begin onboarding them, and then they decide to purchase. And then we continue to evolve with them and show them how to leverage all the different tools to streamline and automate and improve both the candidate engagement or the quality of experience for the candidate, but also the outcome, the quality of hire, right? So yeah, simple email introduction, or if you've got a larger audience, then we get you set up an affiliate program and just you reach out to me and make that intro, and I can throw my email address in here as well. But yeah, super easy that way.
Yeah. Sorry, Fletcher, my internet's unstable here, so I wasn't sure if you heard me or not, or if I interrupted you, sorry, but I just wanted to say that I will include these links and Fletcher's email in the video out to you, so or in the email out to you, and I will also say that it's totally possible if the customer maybe doesn't have the talent, you could, with
Yeah,
some help from Fletcher, you guys could actually help with the recruiting process, leveraging some things with the customer. So you're just going to increase your billable hours.
yeah. That's where we get into the fractional talent acquisition programs, and those are all month to month too. So there's no long-term commitment on those. And we get in, we solve the hiring, we just do everything for them essentially. And at least through the early stages of the process, we source the talent, we do all the screening, we put them through all the assessments that they need to go through, check references, and then get that candidate all the way to the hiring manager. And even at that point too, we'll do top grading style interviews and really advanced interviews, especially when you're talking about key hires, key executive hires. You definitely want to bring us in to help facilitate those advanced interviews. And it's a 2-for-1 deal, right? One, you're evaluating a key hire to make sure that 100% sure that they're going to be a good hire. But 2, the executive team is learning a strategy, a repeatable, proven strategy to evaluate candidates from an interviewing perspective. So yeah, that fractional program is really, really great. And typically, if they need to make, 3 or more hires in a quarter, that can be a very cost-effective program. It's way less expensive than hiring a staffing agency. It's way less expensive than hiring a traditional recruiter. And it's way more ingrained and in depth. And there's just, you get like 50 different services and tools with that program. And not most companies can't consume all those different resources, but they consume the ones that they need to solve the problem, right?
Amazing. Every time we speak, I learn more about what you're doing, and it keeps blowing me away. So awesome job.
Yeah. Since I've been 16 years old, I've thought about the importance of getting the right people on the bus, and I've spent my life studying and practicing how to do that. I've interviewed over 10,000 people and helped over 2,000 organizations solve hiring and use hiring to generate revenue in their businesses. So I have a strong belief that Recruiting and hiring and talent acquisition is a revenue generating part of your business. And if it's not, then it needs to be fixed and it needs to become one, because I don't know a single business in the entire world that's not a people business first. That includes Google and OpenAI, you name it. They're all people. You know what they pay engineers at OpenAI, David?
No, no clue.
Over $900,000 a year.
Oh,
So the company that's building AI, artificial humans, their most important asset is people.
that's kind of funny, actually. Yeah, I remember looking at some of that stuff from with deep or machine learning, and when we had a good run of folks were requesting that, and it was nowhere near that at the time. So it's clearly got some legs now.
Yeah.
All right,
We
and
have a performance management
go
built.
ahead.
We didn't even talk about that, but anyway, that's kind of interesting. So it's good. We're coming up on time here. No, it's been, enjoyed the chat, and I know this will get back out to everybody. So they'll share this.
Perfect. All right, so make sure you get your credits. Make sure if there's something you need, and keep an eye open. I'll have that email out to you within 24 hours. So,
Awesome. All right, David, I'll see you soon.
all right, all right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Fletcher.